All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see if it has BSS with its main Google search. So we're back here in the GBC universe. Where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city, utilizing our North Star as always is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And this is our North Star because it explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here in white, and we got way on the left, we got the highest intent people, the Google searchers, the social media searchers. These people that are looking for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. Highest intent people, closest to the money, highest conversion rate. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent people. These are, recent interruption ads, Facebook, Instagram. People ain't looking for a boudoir right now. Most of them don't even know what the heck boudoir is. So that's our sister brand, FB Ad Doctor. Talk about BLCS over there, different profiles. And these are we currently over there only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But here we talk about BSS. We're going to dive into it right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And when a boudoir photographer's got 0 slots, well, they're on page 2 or deeper, and that's extra bad. And that's because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 and done. And so this is what we care about. We care about the approximately 80% of Google searchers because they're the bulk of the market. We don't care about the remaining 20%. Let's focus on the approximately 80%. So we're on page 2 or deeper, dude. We're invisible to all of them. 1 slot on page 1 Google, also not good enough. Still basically invisible, simply because we look the same as everyone else. And if we got 1 slot on page 1 of Google, well, there's 10 slots. And as a result, it's probably going to be 9 other boudoir photographers, 1 link for each. And so, a buyer, what they're going to be doing is just, clicking, going down, clicking everyone's link and, price shopping everyone and basically contacting everyone, jamming down the price, jamming down the what a seller can get. And it's become super, super cutthroat. So we never want to be at 0 or 1. We call that boudoir search sameness. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal. Extremely common, extremely accepted, but not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. The first deeper root cause, market saturation. Someone get a new iPhone, then they throw up on Google Maps that they do boudoir photography, and they got a website that's starting to rank page 1 on, or competing to rank page 1 on Google. Or someone gets a new camera, they start posting in the mom groups that they shoot boudoir now. So this market saturation, basically everyone knows about this. A big kind of tsunami happened during COVID. People couldn't work, lost their jobs, and still need to earn money. Everyone's got a smartphone, everyone's got an awesome camera. So a lot of boudoir photographers entered the market. Makes it harder for every other boudoir photographer in that market, because it's the same sellers or more sellers for the same number of buyers. So it gets harder and harder for each seller. Now, this new one that very few people know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. That is that's the second deeper root cause for why people only have 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And that's because it's simply kind of automatically accepting or agreeing with, or maybe not even thinking about thinking if it's true or false, but kind of an auto assumption that each boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And if you're on page 1, you had your 1 slot with your website, and market gets a little bit more saturated, you get kicked down to page 2. Well, that's simply how it is. You win some, you lose some, and you kind of got to simply wait for someone to delete their boudoir photography website to actually increase, or actually hopefully move back up onto page 1. So that's a false belief, and I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. Best part is, requires no Google ads, which at max will give you 1 PPC slot somewhere on the page, even if there's other available inventory open. And their momentum dies when you stop spending. So there, and you got to test and figure out all these things to get them to work, constant checking. Way too much maintenance for, not enough outcome there. Next, we know that Boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing Boudoir photographer, because if they're on page 2 or deeper, or if they're on page 1 but one slot essentially invincible, then they disappeared from essentially like the 80% of searchers, which means the boudoir photography business itself is on the path to disappearing as well. And we don't want that to happen. So we got our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Thankfully, though, we now have a solution because we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka executed methodology. And we know that because we invented it, we've used it. We've gone from, again, 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days. And it works exactly as it says, social search saturation. We're going to saturate the highest intent keywords on social search. And as a result of that, well, when we do that, it's kind of like the small streams and rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountains down in South America. When we successfully have those eventually flow down into the large Amazon River. They all merge. And likewise in our scenario, all our social search saturation eventually flows down and merges onto Google page 1 Google search, those 10 organic slots. And Google will give us as many as we put in the effort to acquire. And also SQ methodology is the only thing I've seen that actually, for boudoir photographers, is able to successfully fight back against market saturation. So, maintain the business and actually still grow in spite of market saturation. So still get bigger and happen relatively quickly, get results shown up relatively quickly. The only other thing I've seen that can fight back against market saturation and still allow the business to grow in spite of market saturation is brand. Having a well-known, massive brand. Dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got that time. SQ methodology works relatively way faster than that. And AI is taking people's jobs, taking people's opportunities. We ain't got 5 to 10 years to build a brand. With SQ methodology, if let's say there's a million boudoir photographers in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we're one of them, and everyone's got their own boudoir photography website, competing to rank page 1 Google search, then what's going to happen is we need to try a new strategy to actually outcompete everyone else. So take SQ methodology, we crank it up to the max, and let's say we take the first 300 slots on social search for all the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and we actually, that saturation actually flows onto Google page 1, and we actually get the first 300 slots Google to ourselves. What actually happens is it's 10 organic Google slots per page, and as a result, we got the first 30 pages all to ourselves, and the final one is page 31. That's essentially our competitors first start showing up for organic search. So boudoir buyers basically never find them. So whose business is growing when we got ultra market saturation, a million boudoir photographers? But where the first 300 slots anywhere a boudoir buyer looks. Obviously, our business is still growing. Everyone else's business is disappearing, dying off. It's because SQ methodology is the only thing that enables that without having a brand. And it actually speeds up the process of acquiring a brand. My estimation is probably 8x faster. It's because we're seen on so many more surfaces so much more frequently. Next, once we treat with SQ methodology, we have page 1 visibility. And an initial benefit of this, kind of a second benefit utilizing SQ methodology, is every new slot we take, page 1 of Google, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So that's a second benefit. That's another initial benefit of utilizing SQ methodology, is we're getting more kicking more pieces off page 1. We already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2, so we're making our competitors invisible to approximately 80% of the searchers out there. Awesome. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. This is where we want to hit our recommended 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google, because that's the GBC recommended minimum. And that's because if we got 3 slots, basically everyone else will have 1 slot, we'll look way better than them. Way higher chance buyers, click on us and don't even click on our competitors because they're like, wow, why does Google recommend this person 3 times? It's the 3rd person I've seen them now on this page. They may not even click on any of our competitors. And in the very rare case, another boudoir photographer competitor has 2 slots, then we're still dominating them as well. We got it because we got 3. So that's why we got the GBC recommended minimum of 3. And a boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 equality. And we now have a solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page 1 visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Next, my results. So my results, I want to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. Okay, I'm going to utilize my S-cubed methodology to achieve that. And after 10 days, these are my results. So page 1, this is Google organic page 1, or the organic slots here for organic search. Slot 1, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google, all by purely using S-cubed methodology. Now we're going to check out, we're going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS, kind of the basis for all this stuff. So let's see. So we're going to do a search, boudoir photography Las Vegas. All right. All right, so we got boudoir photographer Las Vegas, Nevada. So let's see. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, there we go. All right, we got 1. 1 out of 10. Nice. All right. We got 1 out of 10, so we do have BSS, boudoir search sameness, because we got 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google search for high intent keywords here. And ideally, we would want to get to our GBC minimum of 3 out of 10, because then we can basically guarantee we're not a bit disappearing boudoir photographer. At minimum, we're treading water, or we could actually be growing. So we do want to get to 3 out of 10. All right, so if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done your local searches, your city searches with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you're seeing, for at least one of those searches you got BSS, or for at least one you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google search, and you've broken through the mental barrier, you've accepted that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, and you're seeing, wow, S-cubed methodology is actually exactly what you've been waiting for, and it's exactly the solution you want in order to get all these slots page 1, increase chances of bringing in new clients, and you're liking the initial benefits, more slots page 1, and you really like kicking the other boudoir photographers off page 1, making them essentially invisible, making their business start going down the path to disappearing. And you're also looking ahead, and you're understanding, wow, AI is taking a lot of people's jobs right now. Last time that happened was COVID. Ton of new boudoir photographers came into the market because, everyone's got a phone, a superpowered smartphone, a superpowered camera, and everyone still needs to earn money. And so you're seeing all that, and you actually are realizing, man, it's not about, getting the links on there is cool. Yeah, kicking people off, cool. But you realize then you actually got to fortify your position on page 1 for all the new boudoir photographers that are going to be entering the market, not only from the gear, but the largest percentage will be AI taking people's jobs, and people still need to earn money. So you realize, man, you actually got to super fortify your position page 1, like fortifying those levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because the city is below sea level. So like, man, I got to have page 1 links, backups to my page 1 links on page 2, backups to those links on page 3. I have so many links and backup links that basically nobody else, no other current competitor can rank page 1, and no other future competitor can rank page 1 after AI takes their job and then they decide to become a boudoir photographer. And you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is actually the only solution that you can see that enables that. You're also looking ahead to the future benefits that you like for the S-cubed methodology, where you understand we're building these invisible thematic keyword columns kind of plugged into your brand, plugged into your name, business name, website name, social handles, kind of in the backend in cyberspace, taking up backend AI keyword mindshare. And you understand that every new day we successfully execute SQ methodology, that we are increasing the probability we show up here in the AI overview. The most premium placement, we cannot pay for this. This is organic only, and it is the number one most premium placement. So increase the probability of getting here every single day, and increase the probability of being ranked on AI search every single day we successfully execute S cubed methodology. And when we do that, that's ChatGPT, that's Claude, that's Perplexity, that is Microsoft Copilot, that is Google Gemini. Higher chance to get ranked AI search, which is literally growing every single day, getting bigger every single day. I remember the last time I did a ChatGPT AI search for boudoir photographers in a city. It brought up 3, and I went to manually look at that city, Google and Facebook, manual search, standard search, and dude, there was like 60 boudoir photographers in that city. So it's like, dude, we gotta get these slots at least one of these slots any way possible. And you're seeing that SQ methodology is really the only solution out there that builds up these invisible thematic keyword columns that builds up backend AI keyword mindshare. It's invisible, but it's building up every day. And you also understand that my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you realize you can get all these benefits and prevent all your competitors from getting any of these benefits and kick them off page 1 down to page 2 and deeper, and build up this massive, keyword momentum, the backend AI brain momentum with these keywords, and put a massive gap between you and your competitors. And you decide to be a first mover. You're like, man, I cannot pass this up, because you understand the converse scenario where one of your competing boudoir photographers in your city actually signs on with me, and us working together, we actually kick you off page 1, and you actually go way, you're on page 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, like way deeper, and we're forward to getting all these links ranked, so that you basically have no chance to ever rank on page 1 again. And we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns in the backend in cyberspace attached to their brand, building up backend AI keyword mindshare, increasing the probability your competitor ranks in the AI overview, kicking you out of there, and increase the probability they're shown in AI search, building their brand approximately 8x as fast as normal processes. And in order to compete, you would have to actually go and rederive S-cube methodology, or derive it the first time. And when you do that, you would never actually be 100% confident you've derived it correctly. But once you do that, you then have to go and execute it every single day, same as us. And if you do those 2 things, well, guess what? You're simply maintaining the gap me and your competitor had already built up ahead of you. And so then you realize, okay, you got to actually execute us like 2 or 3x every single day in order to start pulling that AI keyword mindshare in the back end away from your competitor's brand and back towards your brand. But still, again, you're not even 100% confident you've derived the strategy correctly in the first place. So super hard to even put in that effort. And then if you do put in the effort, dude, it's like 80 hours per day. I mean, who has that time? So after all that, you realize, and screw that, I have decided to be first mover in my city. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. And our DMs are currently closed. Hospital is currently closed for new patient intake. But when we do open our DMs again, when the hospital does open for new patient intake, then shoot us a DM, and we will see if you qualify to utilize our S-cubed methodology.